Hello, I'm glad to welcome you. Today we are going to talk about the situation with Taiwan and possible consequences of its seizure by China. The Chinese Communist Party keeps saying that Taiwan is an integral part of China. However, considering that Taiwan has its own government, this sounds rather strange. How can a part that has separated itself be integral? The CCP also says that it does not rule out the possibility of a forceful takeover of the island if it does not submit to Beijing. There is clearly no desire on the part of Taiwanese to reunite with China. A poll conducted in February showed that less than 8% of the islanders want unification with the PRC. And those 8% who were in favor were likely Xi Jinping, wearing a fake mustache. It is not surprising that Taiwanese are not eager to join China if we remember what happened to neighboring Hong Kong after it was placed under Beijing's jurisdiction. Hong Kong's economy suffered from the Communist Party's harsh measures, and the national security law it introduced spread an atmosphere of fear and uncertainty in the city. Fear and economic devastation sounds tempting. Who wouldn't want to be ruled by China? But according to some activists and observers, Taiwan's fate as part of a unified China will be much sadder than Hong Kong's, because the island could be treated like the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region. Xinjiang is a region in western China populated by predominantly Muslim ethnic groups, the largest of which are the Uyghurs. In recent years, Chinese authorities have cracked down harshly on the local population. According to some reports, up to 1 million Muslims have been imprisoned in re-education camps and prisons across the region. The CCP denies the accusations, saying locals have been banned from using their native Turkic languages, and cultural and religious sites such as mosques have been destroyed by the thousands. After the party sold off much of the organs seized from Falun Gong followers, the Uyghurs became the new donor bank for China. Amazingly, after all this, Taiwan does not even seem to think of capitulating to such nice guys from Beijing. Of course, Chinese officials justify such actions with the need to fight terrorism and extremism, because it would be terrible if some evil organization terrorized and used violence against Chinese citizens, wouldn't it? They also claim that there are no human rights violations in Xinjiang and that the re-education camps are actually vocational training centers. Yes, of course, ordinary schools with barbed wire, towers, and bars on the windows. What profession is taught there? Warden. It is clear that the rest of the world does not believe Beijing's official propaganda. The United States and a number of other countries have called what is happening in Xinjiang genocide. Therefore, it is not at all surprising that experts in Taiwan warn that if China seizes the island, it will suffer the fate of Xinjiang. Moreover, CCP officials have already openly announced such plans. In 2022, Chinese ambassador to France Luc Xiu, in an interview with French TV, admitted the possibility of a military invasion of Taiwan. According to him, after reunification, the Chinese authorities would conduct re-education on the island to restore the Taiwanese people's sense of patriotism. One can guess that this re-education will take place in the same vocational schools as in Xinjiang. Chinese ambassador to Australia Xiao Qian complimented his colleague's words. The people of Taiwan have been under the influence of the separatist regime for many decades. Therefore, it makes sense that their views on China and the motherland may differ. Funny how he remembered to correct himself and add their homeland so as not to incur the wrath of the Communist Party. Uyghur activist Rushan Abbas, commenting on these statements on Taiwan TV, warned, what the Chinese authorities are doing to the Uyghurs, they have planned for the Taiwanese as well, should the island lose independence. In January, Taiwan news columnist Courtney Donovan Smith said, the Taiwanese are too freedom-loving and have a large enough territory to wage guerrilla warfare. They will be impossible to control without extreme measures. Freedom-loving, unwilling to submit, and knowing a vast territory to fight in. No wonder Americans are so sympathetic to Taiwan. But exactly what extreme measures in the spirit of the Xinjiang model await the Taiwanese if China annexes the island? For now, we can only guess since the Communist Party does not publish such plans in TikTok. But the Xinjiang experience gives us a general idea of what re-education means in Chinese. Immediately after annexation, Taiwan will be deprived of obvious symbols of sovereignty, the national anthem and the army. because the armed groups will be able to resist the Chinese occupation. However, the Taiwanese will probably be allowed to keep copies of Xi Jinping's works. The Communist Party is not greedy, which cannot be taken away. Besides, Taiwan, like Xinjiang, is a melting pot of different peoples speaking different languages and dialects. And just as in Xinjiang, Chinese authorities can impose bans and restrictions on the use of these languages, especially in public spaces. Any references and symbols related to Taiwan's recent history will also be removed from public spaces. After all, the Communist Party has never ruled on the island, contrary to its claims. Therefore, there are no monuments there glorifying the great moments of Chinese communist history. Taiwan's recent history, on the other hand, is associated with three periods that the CCP hates. In the first half of the 20th century, the island was part of the Japanese Empire, and China fought a bloody war against Japanese militarists during World War II. Anti-Japanese sentiment is a cornerstone of Communist Party propaganda. After the defeat of Japan in World War II, control of Taiwan passed to the Kuomintang, the Chinese Nationalist Party, which established a one-party authoritarian regime that lasted throughout the Cold War. The Nationalists were the CCP's sworn enemies in the Civil War for control of China. When they retreated to Taiwan, the confrontation continued for decades more. Finally, in the 80s and 90s, Taiwan democratized and the Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, which opposed unification with the PRC, came to power. Communist Party officials even called DPP members liars, criminals, and military provocateurs. So just as cultural, historical sites like mosques in Xinjiang have been destroyed by the thousands, we can expect that in Taiwan, monuments from the Japanese colonial period, monuments from the Kuomintang era, and memorials related to the Taiwanese struggle for freedom and democracy would eventually be demolished. In their place would be statues of China's glorious honey leader. In addition, just as Uyghur intellectuals and religious figures have been sent to re-education camps, sometimes for such crimes as praying or wearing beards, so too would DPP representatives or associated Taiwanese citizens likely face the same re-education. If they include those who voted for the DPP in elections, millions of Taiwanese will find themselves behind the bars of these vocational schools. Let's hope that the Xinjiang model remains only a theoretical threat to Taiwan, and the 8% of the population who dream of unification with China will never get their way. I want to thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please like and subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss new exciting episodes. I wish you good health, peace, and prosperity. See you soon.